Hello, this is Harry Paden. I am the host of Paden's Pulpit. Today, Season 2, Episode 28. Season 2, Episode 28, National Disability Pride Month. National Disability Pride Month. The month of July is slowly coming to an end, and I thought it not robbery to bring you some information that as I watch some of the major newscasts and go through some of the social media, I haven't seen it, so I'll bring it. And hopefully someone, even if it's just one person, will learn about it because it's an important subject. July, one of the designations, because there are always July 4th, a lot of designations, but one of the designations for July is National Disability Pride Month. It's not Pride Month, which has been going on. This is National Disability Pride Month. Let me give you some information that I discovered about that. National Disability Pride Month shines a spotlight on the significant yet often overlooked contributions of our disabled community. It is certainly time to recognize the courageous advocates who fought and continue to fight for equality, accessibility, and independence. The month-long celebration held in July culminates in the commemoration of, this is important, Disability Independence Day on July 26th, 3 days from now. Disability Independence Day, July 26th. This day marks the passage of the pioneering civil rights law, the Americans with Disabilities Act, which dramatically changed the landscape of opportunity and accessibility for individuals with disability. National Disability Pride Month also symbolizes the drive towards the independent living for individuals with disability, a concept that extends beyond mere physical independence. It encompasses the capacity to make choices, contribute to society, and enjoy an equal opportunity to live a fulfilling, self-directed life. So, if you didn't know, do some more research on it. National Disability Pride Month. We certainly want to applaud our disabled community for their efforts and the things that they do to show their independence and that they're not, Stevie Wonder certainly is one of the biggest persons that you can see. He's blind all his life, but Stevie Wonder has done so much, has so many talents, and his disability has not really disabled him in the way it has sometimes if a person takes that disability and allows it to disable them. But let me tell you a personal story, an experience of my life that I want to share about the disabled community and an experience I had. I talk about it a lot because, I didn't get a chance to do high school sports. When I was in high school, my mother died and I wasn't able to do the after-school curriculum type things. But when I went away to college, American University in Washington, D.C., I did play football. It was such a release for me because I always knew I had the ability. I just was not able to do it, almost like a disabled person, almost, I'm just saying, in high school because I just couldn't take the time. So I went to American University my second year, my sophomore year. I was the starting left defensive halfback. If you don't know what that is, sorry, no time to explain. But it's a crucial part of the football team. And I was the starting left defensive halfback. We had a game. Our game was against another team from Washington, D.C., Gallaudet University. Gallaudet University. This was a unique experience, and I'll never forget it. Gallaudet was and still is a private university for the education of the deaf and hard of hearing. Today, a lot of attention is paid to normalizing life for people who have disabilities. Back then, this was a long time ago, back then, 1972, most of us felt pity for people with disabilities and were secretly glad we were not part of that community. When our coaches, the coaches of American University, informed us that we would be playing a hard of hearing school, we at first thought it was a joke. Come on, football, wait a minute, height, 1-2, what are you talking about? We thought, realistically, how could a team of hearing challenged players possibly defeat us? Little did we understand that what we would be facing. Our coaches, they told us throughout the week, do not take this team lightly. Do not think that because they have a disability, they warned us. But despite their warnings, when the coaches wandered around, as players do, they made deaf jokes and talked about it and all kinds of, really disgusting things, but as a team, that's what it's always somebody. And then there's somebody else that's going to laugh. I know many of you wonder, as we did, how could a deaf, hearing impaired team play football against a team without such disability? Let me explain how. Even though some of the players could not hear at all, they compensated by using their other senses. It always has been known that when you lose one sense, your other senses tend to be more heightened and more alert. So most of us hearing enabled players, we listen. Height, 1, 2, blue, Oklahoma, all the kind of stuff like that. We listen for the sounds of the coaches and the signals. Now they have big things on, a whole bunch of stuff. Not all Gallaudet players were completely deaf. Some were just hearing impaired, which means they could hear a little, but they couldn't hear entirely. Other players who were completely deaf used a different method, and here's how they did. They relied on movement. And in football, anyone who knows football, movement. So coaches move. As soon as the person moves, you're supposed to blast them. You're supposed to do this. Movement is really more key than even hearing. They use movement, utilizing their senses in their eyes. The second their eyes detected movement, they reacted. Since this was a skill they practiced and mastered, they did so very well. Another unique tool used effectively, I don't think anywhere in the world but maybe there's another deaf school. They had a large, huge, 7, 8 foot, big, huge drum that they rolled on rollers. And the drum they actually beat, boom, boom, boom. And because again, they have heightened senses. Some of the players were able to use and hear the beats of the drums that we might have heard it, but we didn't hear it to the extent that they heard it. It was a wonder to behold, and not to us at the time, because we were like, whoa, what's going on here? But they use these skills to compensate for their hearing disability. Another factor the coaches warned us about was that this school, wanted to prove that they were as tough and hit as hard as we did, us who were supposedly non-disabled. I ain't never got hit as hard in my life, and I got hit hard. Those boys hit hard, extra hard. Maybe it was just mental. Our goal was to beat them. We almost felt pity at first. The game was a hard game. It was a 0-0 game. The sun was intense, and it was just one of those games where nobody could score. Nobody scored. Our offense, unfortunately, wasn't a scoring machine. Their offense didn't score. So it was in the waning minute of the fourth and final quarter. It looked like we might end in regulation, with a tie score. In the final seconds, time ticking down, their quarterback threw a Hail Mary pass to my side. Now, when the receiver originally ran by me, I bumped him. That's what defensive backs do, and sometimes the safety or linebackers will get him and let him go, thinking the safety or linebacker will cover him. Unfortunately, all the linebackers and safeties were covering other receivers. The receiver I bumped was wide open, and the quarterback rifled. It was a long pass. Rifled him the ball for a touchdown in the end zone. Bummer. We lost 6-0. Of course, we were despondent. Coach simply said, today you experienced a team who had more to prove to you than you had to prove to them. That's what living with a disability. You want people to just treat you the way they treat everyone else. A lot of times they don't want you to open a door. They don't necessarily want you to assist them with their wheelchair. Most of them have mastered these skills. So again, that's what this month is. National Disability Pride Month. In 3 days, they're going to celebrate the authorization of the ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act. Please look it up. Talk to your children about them. Tell them that don't stare, and the kind of things that we should tell. But let me end on this note. On an even more ironic for us, American University, was a play on our team, the right defensive halfback. Great guy, great guy. Didn't discover this right away because we didn't know it. But he had a glass eye. His glass eye was on this side. That's why he played on the right side, because his eyesight was right here, this eye, so he could see. If he did this, then he couldn't see on that side. But he had a glass eye on the left side. Didn't discover it until we started practicing. And if he got hit or he hit somebody, sometimes his eye, this was back in 1972, his eye popped out. It was a glass eye. It's just there for cosmetic. And we'd be in the field looking for his eye. It sounds funny, but that's what happened. We can't let the man lie. And we would look. So we already had this fine young man on our team, and he didn't let that disability, he held down. Hey, after all, they caught the pass on my side. He gets the pass on his side. He's a living example about what the coaches have been preaching to us all week. You know, we gotta make sure that civil rights is not just black and white. Civil rights is about rights for everyone. The disabled community certainly takes the blunt of a lot of our prejudices. To God be the glory. Please take time to find out some more information on National Disability Pride Month in 3 days, July 26th. Take time and say a prayer for the passing of the American with Disabilities Act. It certainly changed the framework for people with disability. If you see a person with a disability, don't treat them differently. Treat them just like you would treat someone else. They would appreciate it. To God be the glory.